Hey everybody, Ron Harris here, MD Online Editor, and this is one of those things I hate reporting on. This one more so than any of the tragedies, any of the deaths that happened last year, only because Bostin Lloyd was only 29 years old. Bostin Lloyd has died at only 29, age 29. Um, he was in stage 5 kidney failure, but I honestly thought he was going to pull through. He was really working hard with all kinds of therapies, treatments, homeopathic remedies, experimental things. I thought he was going to get a handle on this and pull through. I really thought he was. He was just posting on Facebook a couple days ago. I started off years ago when Boston first hit the scene and made a name for himself, became infamous, which is being famous for something bad, for being, he was very open about his drug abuse, his PED drug abuse. I'm not talking about like recreational. And, that earned him a lot of love from people who admired his openness and honesty and the fact that he was willing to be so transparent. And it also got him a lot of hate from people who I felt by being that blatantly honest and doing videos where he was injecting and everything, that he was showing kids the way, the path, that this is what you can do, this is how to get big real fast. And I thought he was putting a lot of kids' lives in danger, because he had a huge following of young men. I never wanted to be the one to say I told you so, but a lot of us saw this coming long, long ago. I did become much more friendly with Boston. He came out to my area. He trained at my gym. I put him through a chest workout. We had a good time. I always got along really well with Boston. We didn't agree on everything, but who does? The reason in the thumbnail I didn't use a picture of him flexing with his tongue sticking out is because that's not who he was anymore. He was a father to a great young boy, a husband to his wife Ariella. That's the real tragedy in all these deaths, and especially, God, he wasn't even 30 years old. He was 29. 29, you are just starting your life at 29. You are just starting out. He had so much ahead of him. My God. That's so young. My daughter's going to be 28 in a couple months. That's just 29 is so young. And, he leaves behind Ariella, his son, his father, John, such a good guy. I love John. My heart goes out to you, John, and to his mom. I think her name is Rita. This is a huge tragedy. Now, Boston did, a lot of people say he did it to himself. He experimented on himself, used a lot of drugs, PEDs that weren't necessarily being used by everyone else yet. He wanted to be his own guinea pig, and he was always very, very open, honest, told everyone exactly what he was doing. And, I admire him for having the courage to do that, because it means you're blacklisted. You'll never get a supplement contract. It's just, we don't talk about these things out in the open. You're not supposed to. And he did. And I'm just so sorry. I liked Boston a lot. He was a good guy. I don't want to say kid, but to me, 29's a kid. 29's a kid. I'm 52. I look back at 29 and I'm like, wow, that was so long ago. I was still so young. Yeah, Trigilli said heart attack. I'll go to your questions and comments now. It's not even relevant. He was in stage 5 kidney failure. Supposedly he had a heart attack. It's not even that important, because the bottom line is he's gone. He's gone, and he was way too young. Way too young. Is there a lesson to be learned here? I mean, is there a lesson to be learned from anything that's been going on with all these bodybuilders, all of us bodybuilders? I got to include myself in that group. I'm a abuser of PEDs. I've been doing so for many years. And yeah, guys, I'm gonna go to your chat because I'm at a loss for words. I'm trying not to get choked up, because then I can't talk. But no way. Oh my God! Wow, even if everyone saw it coming, I didn't see. A couple of years ago, I would have said, sure, this kid, he's just playing Russian roulette, and eventually you get that bullet in the chamber, and if you pull the trigger enough times. He definitely took a lot of chances. He was very reckless, but I wouldn't wish this on anyone, and especially in light of the fact that he was a very loving husband and father to his son. I mean, he loved that boy, and that boy loves him, and that's the tragedy. Is that young boy now is going to grow up without his dad. A lot of you guys who grew up without a dad, it sucks. I was 16. At least I had a dad till I was 16, and he died. But a lot of you guys, either your dads were never there for you, or maybe your dad passed away when you were much younger. So, as a man, especially growing up without a dad, it's just not good. You have no strong male role model. You're just missing that in your life, and it's not good. Ah, man, that's so sad. Gotta think of his son, the entire day, bro. He's turning himself around too, yeah. I mean, he had so much life ahead of him. He was a good, he was a good guy. He was a good man. He really wanted to help people. He really did. I know he came across, because he was very opinionated, he wasn't afraid to express his opinions. A lot of people didn't like that, because this is an industry where you have to sort of pussyfoot around. You can't say certain things about certain people. You have to avoid certain subjects if you want to play the game and be in everyone's good graces. He didn't care about any of that. He did what he wanted to do. He said what he wanted to say. I applaud his courage, and he made his own money. He didn't have to worry about, oh no, the supplement company won't sign me, or oh no, the organization. He made his own money coaching people, supplement line, doing all kinds of things. Didn't rely on anybody, so he was able to be open and honest like that. What's the entire damn? Such a shame. I was literally watching. Yeah, he was posting just a couple days ago. I thought he was going to be okay, man. I thought he was going to be okay. How did he die? Heart attack. Yeah, it doesn't even matter at this point how he died. He's gone. That's the bottom line. He's gone. 29 years old, and he's gone from this earth. That is awful. That is horrible. Nobody should be dying that young. Nobody. Yeah, he got kicked off MD because he said the doctors we had at the time was fake, which was not true. Thomas O'Connor is not a fake doctor. He's on all kinds of medical boards. But yeah, we tried to do a YouTube show with him. And some of the things he was saying, we just couldn't. We were opening ourselves up to all kinds of slander and defamation lawsuits, so we had to pull the show. Julie says heart attack. He was a wreck drug addict. I never heard he was a wreck drug addict, and he was open about it. I don't know if that's true, GT. Please don't start rumors like that, especially when this guy just died. Too many drugs, he would openly admit what he takes. Yeah. Do things cautiously, kids. This is from Bruh. Drugs aren't a joke. Take everything with caution. Boston didn't care. Took things recklessly. He was very reckless. He used all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I remember he came out to the New England show, the NPC New England. He was supposed to compete in it. This was 2017, I think it was. He was supposed to compete, but he had just done some crazy weird injection in his arm, and it got infected. And he was at the show. He still came out to Boston, to his credit, but that arm was all swollen. It was purple with green spots, or green with purple spots. His dad came out because he was supposed to compete, but that happened at the last minute. His dad made him go to the hospital and address it. But I remember asking him, why'd you take, he was famous for that 13 grams thing. I said, why would you possibly do that? He said, well, people would send me, Underground Labs would send him tons and tons of stuff, way more than he could possibly use, but he wanted to see what would happen if he used 13 grams of gear, and it didn't yield any extraordinary results beyond what an already very large cycle of 4 or 5 grams would have. So I think that was a one-time experiment, but still, just doing things like that. It was reckless, but you know what? You're going to judge the guy now? He's the poor kid. He's gone. Not really surprised if you knew what he was doing, his current state of health, but it's a shame, though. It is a shame. It's a horrible shame. Eric Wachowski, the paramedics said he had a heart attack, but they aren't supposed to say anything. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. Yeah, apparently paramedics are not allowed to pronounce people dead, so he was probably already gone. But I think a medical doctor at the hospital has to be the one to to sign off time of death and pronounce you dead and write the time of death on the forms. I thought he was mid-30s. No, he was a kid. He probably seemed like he was older to a lot of you guys because he's been around so long. He was, so if he's 29, he's already been like pretty famous in our little world since he was like 22, 21 maybe. He came on the scene. He was very, very young, and he made a big splash right away. So I could see where people might think he's older, but no, he wasn't even 30, 29. I think it's his steroid abuse, kidneys destroyed. Yeah, obviously his kidneys were destroyed from steroids, and I don't know if we're ever going to find out. He was very open about his, won't say synthol. Synthol is like a brand name, SEO, site enhancement oil use, which a lot of people feel is very toxic to the kidneys. That oil that you inject in a muscle, it stays there, puffs up the muscle, makes it look bigger. But, a lot of people believe it can leak into the kidneys and destroy your kidneys, and his kidneys were destroyed. He was stage 5 kidney failure. He needed a new kidney. He should have been at least on dialysis, but he didn't want to do dialysis. I think he was looking into getting a home dialysis. He was going to do it at home. Was he already doing it? I'm not even sure. It's so irrelevant now. I was watching one of Leo's podcasts. Such a cool guy. Yeah, damn, I almost cried. I'm surprising. I do feel terrible, and I'm very sad. It hasn't hit me yet. When it hits me, like I remember the George Peterson thing. It didn't hit me for like a day or two that he was really gone, and I barely knew George. I knew him from the interviews that we did this, but I've interacted with Boston a few times in real life. I'm not going to try and claim I was his buddy or anything, but I got along well. I liked him. We had a mutual respect for each other. He knew I was a big fan of the old school guys. Like his dad was a tremendous amateur bodybuilder in the 80s. John Lloyd. I almost cried. Just didn't want to stop. So sad. Damn, he was a nice guy. Yeah, I definitely feel for his family and son. Very sad, no matter if he was, no matter whatever you want to say about him and what he chose to do. And say maybe he shouldn't have been, he did most of that damage to himself long before he became a dad. I'm pretty sure he was much more conservative and moderate with everything after he had his son. Because when you have a child, as I have two, I'm sure a lot of you guys have kids out there, your life changes. It's not about you anymore. You're living for those kids. You need to raise those kids, be there for those kids, provide for them, guide them, love them, support them. And he was everything I ever saw. He was an amazing dad to his son, and it's awful that he's not going to be there for his son as his son grows up into a teenager, a young man, and he's never going to get to see that. And it's awful. I feel horrible for his young boy, because I know my dad. I wish my dad had been at my graduation. I wish he'd been at my wedding. I wish he'd been there to see his grandchildren born. All that, that's what life's like when you're missing a parent. Obviously, he was a good dad. He was a good dad. Palumbo was his coach before. Yeah, he abused too much steroids. Yeah, Boss suffered the same fate as Derek Anthony. I only feel bad for his son. I mean, yeah, it serves a lesson to younger kids. I mean, someone said he kept doing I never heard about any recreational drugs with Boston. If he did, this is honest to God the first time hearing about it. He's in a better place now. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Yeah, I know. He brought it on himself. I understand, but he's gone. He had integrity. That's what I was talking about earlier. Family man, honest, good man. Oxys? I didn't know he loved his oxys. Was he even a pro? No, he never turned pro. He did a few amateurs. He never even competed at the national level because, he wasn't more. That wasn't his dream. That wasn't his dream to be a pro bodybuilder. That wasn't the route he was taking. He wanted to do other things in the industry, which he did. He was a coach. He had a supplement company. He was popular on the internet, on YouTube. Palumbo says he'll be another Derek Anthony. Yeah, I mean, I'm not even going to respond. I'm going to cut this short because we could go on all day. But if anything good comes out of this, maybe it'll be that a lot of his followers, I think they already saw the damage that he had done to himself, so they realized that there are consequences. Anytime you're using drugs, PEDs, performance enhancing drugs, you're taking a chance. The more you use, the longer you stay on them. And certain ones, the risks go up and up and up. If this makes other people think about what they're doing and do things in a safer manner, or maybe choose not to do PEDs or do much less than they were planning on, that's the only good thing that I could see coming out of this. If it saves some people, their health, their lives, because this is a wake-up call. You know, I think when Boston was at his peak, a lot of guys saw he seemed like he was fine. He was huge, happy, taking these massive amounts of drugs, and everything was okay. But then he got went into kidney failure. And I think a lot of people immediately said, well, no, these drugs are not harmless. Even someone like Boston can be affected, and now we've lost him. He's gone. Yeah, like someone just, Cazzachero Fanatico, said after watch Boston videos that I decided to never use roids. I mean, that's the only good thing that's going to come out of this, if it saves the health or life of someone else. It's not fair for his son to not have a father. I totally agree with that. Father, husband, and changed him like a good guy. Yeah. William Torres, I just spoke with him 2 days ago. Just to show you, days are never guaranteed, you know. It's so true, because I'll be doing something like setting up my vitamins for the next day, something stupid, which I do like around the same time every night, make my shakes for the next day. And I realize it's like deja vu. It's like, didn't I just do this? But imagine you don't have that next day. You always assume you have another day, another week, another month. We don't think we're going to die. I mean, you know, he was in very poor health. I mean, but still, crazy mofo, but had a good heart. Yeah. If you ever met him, he was a lot cooler. He was even cooler in person. He was a good guy. He injected an entire bottle of research chemical he knew was known to cause kidney failure in mice and monkeys. Yeah, I think that was the nail in the coffin. I hate to use that term. A couple of years ago, he used some experimental fat loss drug just to see what would happen, knowing that it would cause kidney failure in mice and monkeys, and I think that was the last straw for his kidneys. And it was just to see what would happen. He wasn't competing. He didn't need to get ripped for a show. But he was just that guy that would experiment with different things and then pass on his experiences, his results with other people. He liked doing that. It's not how I wanted to wake up this morning. I know. Instead of making it Maurice O'Reilly, instead of making a joke out of him, everyone close to him should have intervened. I made a lot of mistakes when I was young, but I was lucky enough to have friends. I don't think anyone could have stopped him. He was a very headstrong, independent guy. I'm sure his dad did his best to try to reason with him over the years. And I feel awful for John Lloyd. I feel awful for John. He just lost a son at 29. I'm so sorry. Anyway, guys, we could go on and on, but I'm not going to. Boston Lloyd has passed away at 29. This is awful. It's a tragedy. Nobody should be leaving this earth at 29 years old. That should be the start of the prime of your life. You're really just coming into your own as a person, as a man, your businesses. Everything's starting to come together usually around 29, 30, and now. Yeah. So thanks for watching, guys. Just so you know, I did not monetize this video. We're not going to profit off of this. Believe me, I would not dream of. So, thanks for watching. Guys, be careful. Be very careful. Everything has consequences. We don't want to lose any more people, and not just famous people. We don't lose any of you guys out there who we're never going to know about you because you don't have a million Instagram followers. You're not famous, but you know what? If any of you guys go, it's a tragedy too. Every human life has meaning and value. So take care of yourselves, guys. Please, please be careful. Don't do anything reckless. It's not worth it. Life is short as it is. We're already on this earth such a short time. So please, please take care of yourselves. And again, my heart goes out. My deepest condolences and sympathy to Ariella, to Boston's son, to his parents, everyone, all his friends and family. I'm so sorry. And that's it. Rest in peace, Boston. Bye-bye.